Ah yes, welcome my dear friends to The WordSmith, a sanctuary where words and melodies entwine and where the architecture of song is lovingly examined brick by poetic brick. I am Carl, your humble guide through this lyrical labyrinth. Today we find ourselves immersed in the hauntingly beautiful narrative of a highly recommended song, Wren's Jenny's Tale. A piece that threads storytelling, social commentary, and raw emotional honesty into something profoundly human. Together we shall unpick the seams of his verse, trace the contours of his voice, and uncover the truth pulsing beneath the poetic literature. But before we embark on this exploration of sound and soul, I invite you, nay, I implore you, to lend your support to this creative journey. If my work here resonates with you, please do take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. It truly does make a world of difference. And for those whose generosity keeps this channel alight through Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, Super Thanks, or by becoming a channel member, my deepest gratitude to you. Your names now grace the screen, each one a patron of art, a keeper of words, and a believer in beauty. So, if you would like to be a part of that novice and lovely crew, please join using the links in the description. Okay, so settle in. Let us unveil Jenny's tale and peer into the intricate genius of Wren's lyrical mind. Okay, Jenny's Tale. Looking forward to this one. So, why is my laptop so bloody far away? Okay, here we go. It sounds very European. Like a Spanish style of playing guitar, like flamenco. Interesting. I like it, I like it, I like it. Is he lip trilling? I'd do that for vocal warm-ups. That's so interesting. Okay, right. There's already a lot to talk about just from this. So yeah, let's look into that. That's different. The piece opens up with a tender acoustic guitar motif, its timbre imbued with an almost ethnic inflection evoking the fragrance of dusk in some distant quarter of the world. Against this haunting simplicity, Wren situates himself in a resolutely ordinary suburban street, a scene so unassuming it becomes cinematic, the kind of place one might gaze upon from a balcony, lulled by its quiet anonymity. Yet, amid the stillness, a curious and intimate gesture emerges. Wren performs lip trills. I know, those sort of delicate ripples of sound more commonly reserved for the rehearsal room than the stage. But it's a lovely moment. It is a moment both disarming and ingenious, a glimpse behind the performer's mask where warm-up becomes performance, and the boundary between preparation and art dissolves into something startlingly human. Okie dokie, let's take it back slightly and then keep it going. Clear your throat, bro.
It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City.
Oh, I love that.
Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape.
Interesting.
Can you blame?
Ah, but it's singing from you. Okay. There's a lot of story already. Okay, so let's sort of paint the picture from what we've heard already. Now, these opening lines, we're getting into the lyrics. Typical of Wren, it's a masterclass in economical storytelling, painting a nocturnal tableau that is at once intimate and ominously expansive. The quiet, dark night of an empty street immediately situates us in both temporal and emotional liminality, a pause between moments where suspense and reflection intermingle. Now, London, a city teeming with life and history, is here rendered anonymous, its vastness distilled to a solitary figure tracing familiar pavements. Each step is like a muted echo of habit and familiarity. Jenny's dragging feet betray a weight beyond mere fatigue, a subtle embodiment of weariness and existential longing when the repetition of "she knew this town, she knew this floor" deepens her entrapment, a poetic claustrophobia almost of space and memory. The rhetorical flourish of "she wanted to escape, can you blame?" that sort of transforms the narrative into an intimate confession, drawing us as the listeners into complicity. Her desire for liberation is palpable, almost corporeal, and framed with an empathy that is as lyrical as it is human. Here the lyrics are not merely descriptive, they are the very architecture of mood, mapping the psyche of a character whose quiet desperation resonates far beyond the street itself. Okay, I'm really enjoying this thus far. It's, again, it feels very reminiscent of High Ren. If you guys haven't watched the video, please do so. The link will be in the description. But anyway, let's keep this going.
Can you blame?
When he sings,
On
it's
the
so
very
good.
same night in a different place, I walked this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old
rhythm.
and out of his brain he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech. He was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief. At 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul.
Okay, all right. So I'm assuming later on in the song, Jenny and Screech are going to intertwine in some way, shape, or form. I hope not malevolently. All right, so the narrative pivots with cinematic precision, introducing James, a foil to Jenny's contemplative solitude, yet equally ensnared by the stark realities of his environment. The specificity was interesting for me. He mentions 14 years old, and that imbues the verse with a raw poignancy, juxtaposing youthful vulnerability against the precocity of delinquency. The diction is vivid and unflinching. Out of his brain, smoking ganja, liar, a thief, each phrase a brushstroke in a morally shadowed landscape. I mean, even the moniker, Screech, pulses with streetwise immediacy, a signifier of both speed and cunning, a survivalist identity forged in the urban crucible. So, and something that I noticed is the lyrics' final line, "the devil had set his sight on his soul," elevates the personal to the archetypal, framing James' misdemeanors as part of a larger cosmic struggle between innocence and corruption. Ren's storytelling here is audaciously cinematic. He entwines character, environment, and moral tension in a single fluid stanza, which is compelling us as the listeners to navigate empathy and unease in equal measure, I would say. Okay, this is heating up a fair bit, and we shall continue.
The devil had set his sights on his soul.
There's a
As
deep
Jenny
line.
walked home all alone, she felt scared.
Oh.
Usually she was right, but it was like there was something in the air. A
Very
divine
clever.
intervention telling her to beware, maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance at the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets.
yeah.
Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Up or go Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me your...
Okay, all right. I paused on... This is the problem with closed captioning. Sometimes it gives you the lyric before the next frame. Right. Okay, I can kind of see where this is going. That's bloody unfortunate. Okay, so from everything that we've seen so far, let's dive into the lyrics. Okay, so the tension now crescendos with a masterful orchestration of atmosphere and psychological nuance. Jenny's fear is now rendered very, very tangible, a delicate tremor that dances between instinct and premonition, a divine intervention, it says, or maybe intuition, Ren sings. The lyric beautifully balancing the ethereal with the corporeal, the metaphysical whisper of fate against the pulsing reality of lived experience. The auditory imagery is also very interesting. Sirens sound in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. Transforms the city itself into a collaborator, a symphonic accomplice to suspense, where every echo and reverberation heightens anticipation. And then, with a subtle pivot, narrative inevitably crystallizes. The encounter, the meeting of eyes, the collision of two trajectories destined to intersect. The lyric encapsulates a moment suspended in a moral and emotional chiaroscuro, one of my favorite words. And that's where innocence and streetwise cunning converge under London's nocturnal canopy. And the listener, being us, is now drawn into a liminal space of dread, as well as curiosity and poetic empathy, I'd say. The thing I love about Ren is that when he decides to introduce a character into a song, whether it's Hi Ren or Here, you'll notice in order for us as the listener to distinguish one character from another, he changes the tempo, he changes the rhythm, he changes his style of singing or rapping, even to the point where he sometimes changes his accent. Very, very creative, very brilliant. Aside from him, the only person I know who does that is Eminem. So, quite brilliant. But let's keep this going.
A poor girl Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me.
Shit.
If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reach with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete. And he's
sorry to pause. This is a lot. So these lines are exploding with this quiet dread into cinematic immediacy. The robber's speech is a jaw, jagged percussion of imperatives and profanity that reads like a vocal assault in itself. Every monosyllabic demand, give me all your money, bitch. Hammer blow that flattens nuance and forces the scene into merciless urgency. Ren juxtaposes that course, threatened syntax with unexpected poetic metaphors. I mean, look at it. Jenny, statue-like, a lady, shaped stalagmite, feel like liquid nitrogen. And the effect is perversely illuminating in a very profound lyrical way. There's a finesse that heightens her immobilization, rendering her vulnerability not merely physical, but geological and thermal, as though the body has been fossilized by terror. Musically and dramatically, though, this contrast invites a specific performative architecture. The assailant's lines should be spat out in a narrow, nasal, or pressed timbre edge, grit, clipped phrasing, while Jenny's interiority benefits from breath-held, suspended tones that convey paralysis. Dynamic contrast here is everything. That's the imagery I'm getting. And the blade imagery here is very interesting. Sheath of the blade with the teeth could bite through steel. It sort of pushes the lyric into mythical brutality, personifying weaponry as an animal force, and Screech as its possessed avatar, which morally polarizes the characters and forces the listener to sort of recoil even as they are riveted. Linguistically, in the stanza, traffics in shocks. Coarse vocables, blunt threats, cinematic verbs, swung possessed, but it is the final smile, the statue turned to butter in a breath, that accomplishes the true linguistic sleight. A sudden grotesque liquefaction of dignity into ephemeral flesh, a reminder that the boundary between stasis and devastation can be traversed in a single savage exhalation. Overall, the passage functions as a terrifying study in vocal characterization and dramaturgy. It demands from Ren exquisite control of register, breath, and microdynamics to separate the predator's coarse immediacy from the prey's suspended silence. And his voice is now tasked with the ability of navigating the listener through that entire tone. And he does it so masterfully. It's quite brilliant. And this video is from 6 years ago. Okay, so I think I'm just going to let it run through. This guy writes.
That could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath.
Oh.
It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep.
Oh no.
Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame.
Oh yes, and I know that line. Oh, bloody brilliant. This man is the GOAT. Okay. The lyrics, it's a short song, a lot of depth. Let's get into the analysis. Here, Ren returns us to a quieter, more reflective register, but one charged with melancholy and somatic realism. The opening lines, "It was a quiet, dark night on an empty street somewhere in London City." Now, that forces me to recall the initial exposition, yet here the darkness is suffused with the aftermath. The cityscape is no longer simply a setting, but a stage for human fragility. It's emptiness amplifying the intimacy and tragedy of the scene. Jenny laid still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Oh, yeah, it's striking. It's stark simplicity. The verb laid conveys repose, but not peace, while cold concrete situates her corporally in her discomfort and vulnerability. The body's contact with the cityscape is tactile, almost brutal testament to urban neglect. The subsequent reflection that's used here, well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before. And that resonates with tragic circularity. Familiarity here is a double-edged sword, a testimony to survival, but also to monotony and entrapment, each step echoing countless prior nights and the persistent weary rhythm of marginal existence. So, again, this section of the song closes with the bittersweet resignation of, "I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame," which we've heard before, obviously. It's a line pregnant with ambiguity. Has she truly evaded harm or merely survived in a diminished, sorrow-laden form? The language oscillates between reportage and elegy, blending a journalistic clarity with poetic grief. And in performance, these lines demand subtle vocal nuance, which he masters. In other words, just a softened to heightened dynamics, gentle phrasing, and a timbre that balances vulnerability with reflective distance. And all of that is to evoke feeling within the song, which he did masterfully. And I'm grading that on the basis of the very fact that I'm feeling things whilst listening to it. And so, dear listener, we arrive at the quiet denouement of Jenny's tale, a story both harrowing and tender, painted with Ren's inimitable pen with a masterclass in narrative crafting. What an aching reminder that music is not merely heard, but felt. If this exploration spoke to you, if you found solace, insight, or perhaps a glimmer of shared humanity in our analysis, then I would be most grateful if you'd like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And it really does help this little corner of the internet continue to celebrate art in its wondrous forms. Your thoughts, as ever, are the lifeblood of this channel, so please do leave a comment below. I do my best to read as many of them as I can. And once again, to my cherished donors and supporters, thank you so much. I do deeply appreciate you. Thank you for allowing me to continue in this vein, and I will continue as long as you're here. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. Be kind, be gentle, be respectful to one another, and help each other out when you can. And I'll see you lot in the next video. Take care, everyone. Cheers.